Hi, I tried taking this video twice. Didn't work. Anyway, so this video is going to serve as a follow-up because I was watching my 20-minute vlog, trying to come up with, like, other ideas, and, I wanted to make more gaming videos like I planned, and last thing I posted was an update because I had a whole bunch of stuff happen. I lost a good amount of my belongings from moving from college, but it's a lot better in here. It's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, since I posted my update. So, it's a lot better living here. It's a more rural town, and, I just got a job. I'm about to be working at KFC instead of Taco Bell because the Taco Bell job was like 2 months, and then I had to move. So, but yeah. So this video is gonna be focusing on what it's like to be a bassist, like in the sense of the 4 or 5 string, not the stand up bass, but the regular instrument. No, not regular, but you know what I mean. All basses should be included in this video. I'm not saying this isn't for you as a stand up player, but I've never played this instrument. So I'm really mainly talking about the 4 or 5 string electronic or acoustic, that's more traditionally in like contemporary music or rock music. Stand up definitely can be in contemporary, not just classical though. I just don't have any experience playing that type of instrument, so don't feel like left out. But this is gonna be a little bit more of like a rant, or I hate saying the word rant, or a discussion, if you will, about what it's like the past. Think I've been a bassist for like 3 years now, almost 2 years now. I got it in December 2023. I no longer have my instrument anymore. We don't have Clayton, guys. Let's take a moment of silence for Clayton the bass. He was really nice. He was a really good bass. I was really attached to him. Okay, so overall, being a bassist in any band, I feel like we are very much overlooked. And this is because mainly, I think, from the bands that I've listened to, from what I tend to realize, not a lot of people notice that bassists have to carry a certain tune just as a lead guitarist or rhythm guitarist does, or a keyboardist. And keyboard and bass is quite similar, just like people will say a guitar is like a sideways piano. I think a bass is even closer to a piano a lot, like, or a keyboard. And I say that because there are times where I'm trying to learn a part, and I'm like, well, I'm not trying to play over the keyboardist, but like, or like tap on the keyboardist. If that makes any sense. But that's kind of how I feel a lot. And I improvise parts because I play by ear, as I stated before in another video. So learning notes is easier for me because I'll look at the chart and I'll be like, okay, that makes sense. Cool, cool. Fuck that. I'm doing this my fucking way. And I think that's what makes me such a fucking hard musician to work with sometimes. Because playing by ear, people will be like, well, do you know the chords to this song? And then people will play so great. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, that's cool. And the only thing I'm really doing is just listening to the song and the bass line and then improvising my own shit. But yeah, that's kind of how life goes. Also, don't ask me where my glasses are. I lost those shits. Okay. I don't see anything like, where's your glasses, Dini? Like, no, bro. They don't got their glasses no more. I planned on going to Zenny, but where I live now, we don't have a fucking mailing address. We gotta use a P.O. box. And pray for me. Because I gotta figure out how that works and everything. I didn't know that when I got some things from Walmart's in here, and so far they said they're still on their way. When it comes to stuff being sent by USPS, that's what's gonna be the problem for the most part, though. Like, dead ass. Alright, and also, I'm about to be so real with y'all. Like I said, I'm a smoker, so I'm about to just start being real casual with y'all in my videos. Past that, being a bassist is kind of like if you took if you took like the fucking smallest cookie in the platter, right? And this is not how I view it. This is how I feel like other people view us. If you took like the smallest cookie in the platter, you put that shit in the oven, and you have a whole batch of cookies, and you got that one cookie in the back that just gets overlooked and then crunchy and whatever. That's how I feel people treat basses sometimes. And I only say that because sometimes there's songs that I'm listening to, and I gotta turn up the shit to even hear the bass. Number one, like they're not equalized. You got bassists like Jeremy Davis, who's like his tone famously people will say is mildly overdriven, right? Well, to me, it ain't even mild in the sense that it's like it sucks. You know what I mean? It's mild in the sense like damn, like he can follow the lead singer, like he would follow Haley Williams almost vocally, but with a bass. And that's what drew me to the instrument. So what I can never understand, right, is if a bass is almost like somebody is singing, why don't people ever really want to listen all the time? Or people will give us the rap like, oh, we're simple. Now, me as a person, I do think it takes a fairly like laid back, simple person to play bass because the techniques you use can make you sound larger than life. You got plucking. Also, bassists out there that want to start, never ever let anybody tell you that you cannot use a pick. You may certainly use a pick when you play. You don't always have to. I find that slapping techniques or using your thumb like this is really, really helpful for a different type of sound. If you want it more like impactful or forceful, dare I say. But out of the 2 years that I've played, I will say that you can't really ever be a band to a certain extent if you don't have a drummer or in a type of rhythm section. But that's not to say that a bass isn't a part of the rhythm section. So if you feel yourself being drowned out, the advice I could give you is don't be afraid to tweak your tone, number one. Number two, talk to your bandmates. And if you still feel as if there's no excuse my home phone. If you still feel as if there's no what do you call it? Like progress, then at that point, if you're practicing with them and in your own time and you don't feel as if your playing is the problem, then try and sit and ask your bandmates what y'all might be able to do to help like fix the blockages. And number three, don't be afraid to experiment with sound and your own tone, because over time I thought my tone would stay the same. I got the octave divider that I showed in that last video, and it really helped me hear my own hum. And like I mess up a lot when I play. Even when I record stuff, there are times where I can figure out where I messed up exactly, and I'm like, I don't know. You can't. There's no such thing as perfection. I think it's number four. Top four things. There's no such thing as perfection. That goes for any musician, but like with a bassist, a lot of times, like I guess because I have an ear for it, in certain tracks, there's so much more than you can do besides just playing the main tune line. You could even play along with the keyboardist, and there's some tight joints. Like I grew up listening to a lot of gospel music, some joints where they get into praise breaks, and I'm like, damn, bassists and drums be leading that shit if you think about it, and keyboardists. Um, I guess the last thing is just don't be afraid to look out for your own mental health, because there's a long, long history of like people making jokes about bassists not really feeling or being in pain. I feel like sometimes you need to feel that pain in order for the music, especially if you're like an emo type or rock music type of person like me. Emotion is the main thing. People think emo is just like the hair or whatever. And first of all, I'm black, so it takes a lot more for me to even get that look. You know what I mean? So don't fucking stress. And if you play bass for like R&B, I think your main takeaway would probably be your vocalist or rapper that's behind you. Don't overshadow them, but don't be afraid to create an undertone that kind of sounds like them too, because it might complement that shit. Like, I listen to a lot of Wale now. That's the newest thing about me. I'm fucking obsessed with Wale. I'm supposed to probably go to a concert that's close to my college on the 16th. I'm hoping I can make it. But what I noticed about his music is that there's a lot of vocals, and the bass kind of goes behind the vocals leading into the background. You know what I mean? And then like his stuff, like his verses and whatnot. So you know, like listing a whole bunch of different artists and different styles, it's just bass as an instrument is not just a lower guitar like I thought it was when I was little. Like, I knew I wanted to be a guitarist of some sort ever since I was little, but the bass, I after doing research, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so much easier. It's not easy playing bass, bro. You gotta listen to not only the drummer and singer and keyboardist, you gotta listen to yourself. Cause that shit don't make sense. You are in a certain type of aspect, the second or third or whatever, however many main singers you got. You're a singer of your own. I don't give a damn. A bassist in its own right is a singer. And it's only because it's a bass. It hums. It has tune. I always say this too. You might, even if you're deaf, I feel like you could always at least feel a bass. It's a vibration. You know what I mean? Like, you got bass 808, you got hi-hat, you got all that type feel to your music that might give off the vibration. Reverb especially. Bass will most always pick up on your reverb, but you don't ever want to have too deep or overdriven of a sound too and drown out the band. So I guess I just made this video because I see a lot of things, like reels especially with bassists going, like being in a bolt and shit like that. Like, it's funny as hell, but also, and if you're not a bassist and you come across this video, make your bassist feel, and you're in a band or you're a musician, and you got a friend that's a bassist, make them feel appreciated, because if not, like, I've left bands, I've gone back to bands, my best friend's a guitarist, and I'm not gonna lie, it's hard being best friends with a guitarist and thinking, like, trying to keep up with them or something like that. But I also tried playing 6-string, and I'm okay. I'm getting better. Don't ever be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and ask for help, whether they directly play your instrument or not, because you never know what tips you can pick up from another musician. Always work on your craft and seek to get better. And I think that's the most I ever actually really wanted to say about it. But I guess equipment wise, this is the last part of the video I'm gonna talk about. So I had a Donner. I had a Donner bass. I want to get a 5-string. I had a 4-string last time, but I'm deciding. When I do get a bass again, I will show you. I want to get the same exact model, but I'm debating on that. And like I said, step outside of your box and comfort zone. I'm gonna take that advice most likely. And that was some starter equipment. So if I could do it again, I probably would get like a Squier. A Donner has beautiful tone. Don't let nobody tell you that you only should get a Fender or like a Squier or Gibson or some shit. Like, there's so many other brands out there to explore and whatnot. But invest in something that's not too cheap, within like the $100 to $200 price range. $150 to $200 price range, I think, is really good. When you use your speakers, make sure that shit ain't buzzing and it's plugged in all the way, because when I recorded, I noticed there's a lot of like pickup and hum that I didn't necessarily want in my video. And I think the last thing, just have fun, be creative. I don't give a damn if it's not the original note or line or whatever. Like, the band Me Without You, when they perform live, their licks are a lot different than how it is on they'll pay homage to their original lick, and then I'll notice, like, especially like the lead guitarist Mike Weiss or even the bassist Greg Jahanian, they'll just fucking improvise. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. Bassists everywhere, I love you. Bye.